What's up, y'all? Obviously, you guys have seen the news. Hulk Hogan has passed away, aged 71. Apparently, he suffered a massive cardiac arrest. And, this is one of those situations where I'm kind of not sure how to react to this. Like, obviously, I feel sad. I'm not going to lie and say that, oh, I don't feel sad. I do feel sad. But then again, I'm like, I just don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of neutral on this matter, given the fact that obviously what he's done, you know, before uh, uh, all the controversy regarding, all the stuff he said about black people, being a racist. I get it, but at the same time, he's a human, or he was a human being, and we all make mistakes. I'm not condoning what he did. Obviously, no, I don't tolerate racism. That's very bad what he did. But again, he wasn't like a evil person. I'm not saying he's a good person, but he wasn't evil, or he wasn't like, because people obviously on the internet, especially Twitter, are like comparing him to Hitler and stuff like that. Come on, guys. You guys are better than this. He may have not been a great person or a decent human being, but at the same time he wasn't like a terrorist or something. So we gotta stop comparing people like that, and at least on the day of passing, have some respect. Obviously, if you this is where you separate the character and the human being. As a character, as a wrestler, Hulk Hogan was a legend. There's no denying the fact that he changed the business, took it to a whole new different level during the 80s and 90s. And, you know, uh, let's be honest, whether you like him or hate him, if it wasn't for him, I don't think the company would be where it is right now. Um, I know some of you hate hearing stuff like that, but it is what it is. Those are facts. And he played a massive role in the company's success. And yeah, man, it is like this type of situation. I'll be honest, makes me sad, but at the same time, I just don't know. Like, I just feel so blank inside. Obviously, uh, just don't know really how to react to stuff like this. And I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like celebrating anybody's death. That's not the kind of person I am. Because if I do, that doesn't make me a better person. That just makes me equally bad. And I see people on Twitter, the IWC, celebrating and saying stuff like, "Oh, thank God." I just don't want to go into details, but you guys know, obviously. And then there's a side who is neutral, being respectful, classy, and then there's a side, obviously his fans. There are people who still love him, who give him proper respect, and a proper tribute. So it is what it is. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm not gonna go and say, oh yeah, you should say this, you should say that. But then again, you know, at least I would say on the day of passing, just stay, have some kind of respect. Like, come on, guys, you guys can do better than this. Like, seriously, like, it was sad to see stuff like that. But then again, I can't really blame them for reacting that way. But yeah, I just, yeah, man, it is what it is. And so I'll just briefly tell you my story of how I got to know Hulk Hogan. Not personally, but no, as a character, his wrestling character. So I started watching wrestling around 2007, 2008. So it was back then, and it was because of John Cena and The Rock. And then slowly got to know more about it, and and then slowly started watching YouTube videos just to know the product very well. That's when I started watching old matches, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, and this is when WWE just got into the PG era. And by the time uh, it was 2010, 11, that's when fully became a fan, started watching it regularly, and that's when I started watching TNA too. So that's where I started watching Hogan uh, there. So I was able to watch him for to the fag end of his career, and yeah, I did miss the important moments, but I was able to thank God for YouTube. I was able to rewatch all his old matches and stuff like that. So that's how I knew him. Even though it wasn't live, like I wasn't there live to see him, uh, it still felt like I was there. Even though I watched it on YouTube. I know it doesn't make sense to some of you, but that's how it was. And, as a character, he was larger than life. He had that presence, a larger than life presence, and obviously a legend in the business. There's no denying that. And I, I, my favorite moments of his were obviously his match against The Rock, WrestleMania 18. I think it was in the Sky Dome. That oh, wow, that match had everything. Uh, they wrestled well, and at the same time they had really good storytelling. Because so for some of you that hasn't watched the match, or if some of you that are new to the product, so let me just briefly tell you that entering the match, Hogan was a heel, which means he was a bad guy, and The Rock was a face. So as they wrestled, and that's when the crowd was like 50-50. Uh, 50% of them cheered for Rock, 50% of them cheered for Hogan. But as the match progressed, slowly people are leaning towards Hogan. That's when it became 60-40, then 70-30. And by the time as the match kept going, fans completely were in support of Hulk Hogan. And, it was crazy because The Rock was a face and Hogan was a heel. Hogan was a part of NWO, New World Order, with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. And to see him get that kind of a reaction, uh, it was crazy, man. I think all 70,000 people were cheering for Hogan, and The Rock was getting booed actually, which was like crazy because I don't know, man. At that time, it was crazy, and people wanted Hogan to win, but obviously The Rock won. It was a passing the torch moment, and that's when I think they improvised. They pulled the trigger for Hogan to turn face. So obviously Nash and Hall came out and turned on Hogan, and that's when The Rock made a save, and the crowd just went crazy. So that match really is probably my favorite Hogan match ever. And another moment in history which really changed the business was Hogan turning heel. That was like nobody saw that coming, and that made such an impact, and probably the best heel turn ever. Because I I don't think I've ever seen any heel turn like that before. Like probably apart from John Cena's heel turn, but Hogan's, I felt, even me being a massive Cena fan, I felt Hogan's heel turn had more impact. Uh, I'm talking about the run, not the execution, not the moment of turning heel. Moment of turning heel, I would say I liked Cena's heel turn better, but when it comes to that heel run, Hogan had a better run, and you know that's how the NWO got formed, and people were like, and it was that time where he was getting stale. People are slowly booing him, and despite being a face and main eventing so many WrestleManias, being multiple time champion, people started to get bored of him. So he turned heel, and that's when people slowly started loving him. And that was a pivotal moment for the business. And yeah, man, that. really changed the business. Like a lot of wrestlers wouldn't be here today if stuff like that did not happen. And that's when, honestly, when that happened, WCW took off to a whole new level. And yeah, obviously that benefited them. But then again, it didn't, they weren't successful towards the end. Even after WCW got purchased by Vince, uh, the NWO, obviously made their debut in WWE. And yeah, it was still cool to see them there. They were still getting massive pops. It was crazy, man. We got like amazing storylines. Obviously, their run wasn't long when they came back to the WWE, but it was entertaining to watch that short run of theirs. So yeah, obviously, um, it is a tough day for the wrestling world, and tonight SmackDown is gonna take place, and we're gonna obviously pay tribute to him. It's gonna be very interesting to watch because the last time Hogan made an appearance, I think it was Raw's debut episode on Netflix, and obviously everybody knows what happened. He got massively booed out of the building, and I just hope the same doesn't happen tomorrow, or just out of respect, because somebody has passed away. I just hope people have that respect. But then again, if there are boos, you can't really blame those people. But yeah, it is what it is. So I just want to say, rest easy, Hulkster. Uh, when it comes to you being as your character, I was a fan. Um, obviously, as a human, things happen, and uh, I guess we gotta learn how to forgive, and move on. And I did see some stuff about him accepting God in the end, and changing. So if that was what actually happened, then I'm happy for him and his family. And my condolences go out to his family, his daughter, his son, all the friends that there. I just hope they're doing okay, and I hope they get through this. And yeah, man. I'll just see you guys later. Peace.